Hi guys, so I really hope that you can hear me well because they're currently doing some sanding on the house and it's kind of loud. But for today's video, we're going to be planting up most of our fall veggies. This is like the perfect size that I want them. And I was worried that because I started them in the beginning of August instead of the first week of July, like I initially intended, I thought they would be still like half the size by the time I wanted to plant them out now. So I think giving your plants at least a month works out really well. So if I wanted to plant them out in the beginning of August, I would have needed to plant them out in July. So I'm going to try it to see how they do for the beginning of September instead of the beginning of August as far as planting them out. I'm having some issues already. You can see the birds have been coming up here and nibbling. I don't know if it's also maybe the squirrel, but for the most part, I think they are all doing really, really well. I am super happy with the progress there. And then we have some little ones here that are being nibbled on. And then we have our onions here that are really just vigorous and strong, nice and sturdy. I'm not having to do any trims on them. So these were timed perfectly as well. So I am going to, initially I thought I wanted to keep them together, but because of the amount of time I have, I'm not sure if they'll, get to the size that they would normally get if they have about, I think like 3 months or so to bulb up. So I think I'm going to actually separate everything and just give everyone their own individual space. So initially I was going to interplant the onions with the broccolis, but the issue is I don't have a lot of chicken wire to go around to protect the broccoli, and then I'm afraid that once the broccoli gets really big, it will inhibit the onions from staying upright. Last time I'd interplanted the broccoli with the onion, I found that the broccoli leaves were laying down on the onions and preventing them from kind of getting that nice sunlight that they need in order to bulb up. So I am going to keep the broccoli separate and the onions separate. That way, when I do plant up the onions, I won't need to go ahead and cover them because nothing really bothers them. And then I could use all the space available to plant up the broccolis without worrying about giving the onions ample space. So this is the bed that I plan to go ahead and plant a set of broccoli in. I was also going to plant them back here, but with the chives kind of taking over most of this bed and the loofah plant kind of shading it out, I don't think that's going to work out really well. So I'm going to drop some potatoes in this bed. And instead, I'm going to take out this corn. I've been seeing just the squirrels coming in here, harvesting their corn and going on their way. So I think if I do plant corn again, I have to go ahead and put in some protective measures for that. And also in this bed here, because right now I'm not getting much production from this squash plant here. Look at this beautiful dahlia. Isn't that gorgeous? Love it. So I also have watermelon in this bed, and I had a good size one here, but it actually started to rot at one end. So I just ended up taking that out, and then the only watermelon that's here now is this puny watermelon and this other really tiny one here. So that's not going to get to the size that I need before the first frost. So I'm going to go ahead and pull all of this out in order to go ahead and use this bed. So for any new bed that I'm starting, especially when it has gone through a almost half the growing season, or a full growing season for most of you if you don't plant in the fall. I like to go ahead and clear up any little bits of weeds that may have popped through during that time. You know, as much as you put down mulch, sometimes those pesky little weeds can get through. Once I do that, any mulch that I have on top, I go ahead and put to the side. Then I like to add back nutrients into the soil. So I could add maybe compost that I've made myself. In my case, I just went ahead and picked up some black cow, and then I added some chicken manure. So this was a perfect day to do any planting because it had rained, I think the day before, and then the clouds was just right above, so there was no harsh sunlight. So this was the most perfect day to go ahead and plant up the broccolis. You'll see that it'll also get watered for me later on in this video. So we have a quick minute. The noise has subsided a bit, but I have just arranged these in a diagonal pattern so that I can, get the most out of the space. I have a couple of them that are doubled, so they'll fit in that little area there. And then I'm going to try to see if I could pick out maybe 3 more Batavia broccolis, because I really want to keep them all in the same space, just so I could see how early they actually give me those heads, how big the heads are. I don't want to have to, look for tags or anything like that. So I'm really happy with the layout. All the broccoli plants look nice and strong, and I'm just excited to see how everything grows. So as you guys know, I went ahead and put down the black cow. I also added some chicken manure, and I was going to add some more granular fertilizer in each potting hole, I guess, but I decided that may be a little bit too much, and what I don't want is for them to just grow a lot of leafy greens. I really want to make sure that I'm setting them up where they mature in the correct way. I don't want to add too much of a specific fertilizer, and I'm getting a lot of greens instead of the heads. So I want to set them up, but I don't want to do too much. So that's where my head is for this right now. But I am really happy, and I am going to grab a couple more and then get this whole section planted up. So guys, we're going to call it quits for this video. The rain just came in quick and hard. I was able to put some of the plants, the remaining ones, underneath the table to protect them a bit from the rain, because they're still in that small container. Having that heavy rain come down on them would not be good for the plants. So I was able to quickly hide them underneath that table, and I'm just hoping this stops in a bit, because I don't know how this newly planted set of broccolis are gonna fare with this heavy rain. I'm going to save the rest of the planting for tomorrow, but I am really happy that I was able to get those 2 beds planted. So we have the Waltham in, we have the Batavia, and we have the Belstar. So I'm pretty happy, and you know, we'll pick it up tomorrow. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Look at this, guys, coming from the roof. Isn't that crazy? And then this is where I was able to hide. Some of them are underneath the table there, and then some of them are on the chair there, just to kind of hide them a little bit from the intense rain. We definitely could use a water rain catcher just right here. This gutter just pours out a ton of water, and then it spills out here a bit. So definitely have to figure out something for that. But I'm happy. It's raining. Can't be mad about that. And it seems like it's slowing down. So that's great.